Hails Jared Welch, RacingDudes.com, back for another race preview. Let's go to Sunday for the Maxfield. Naturally, Magic gave me the Maxfield because I'm like Maxfield at the time. Maxfield. I was number one. Number one in the fan club. So glad to see a race named after Maxfield, and I'm happy to do the preview for it. This is race number 8 on Sunday, July 3rd, Sunday. So the Maxfield, and I think it's a 2-horse race. It comes down to a 2-horse race for me. I mean, yeah, you have Field of 6 in here, but how about we look at My Prankster and Gunite? Those are the two that I'm focusing on because those seem to be the most interesting horses of the race. We'll start with My Prankster, who we've seen a little bit as of lately. Of course, hadn't seen since February, and then bounced back to run in the Pat Day. Well, had a race between that and Lafayette, and then came back to run in the Pat Day Mile, and really didn't. I wouldn't say ran poorly. He probably ran one of his better races, just went up against an absolute monster. And Jack Christopher, Papa Cap, finished second, narrowly beat My Prankster that day. And then, the swell earlier in the year, he was good. I wonder how good this horse is, really. He's definitely going to benefit from some pace, I think. And so that makes him interesting here. But you don't love the fact that he's rattled off back-to-back losses. You can make a case. You can make a case why he lost, obviously, last time out. But in Lafayette, he might be a slightly overbet here. And that's why I kind of think this race is going to go through Gunite. And yeah, I mean, we hadn't seen this horse in forever. We hadn't seen this horse since the Champagne, and finally came back at the beginning of June 3rd at Churchill Downs, and came back and looked good. I mean, didn't win, but ran second to a big performance, but ran a nice 94 buyer that day. We're in a high time form number as well. And we hadn't seen that race or hadn't seen him since October and all the way to June, and he ran that big of a race. You got to assume another improvement is coming from him in the second start as a 3-year-old. And really, aside from that, the race itself should go through him. And that's why I like him, because the pace, he should be able to kind of set the fractions he wants to set. I think he's the fastest horse in the race, and all things should really go through him. He should be tighter, like I mentioned. You get T-Gaff aboard, I believe, for the first time, but him and Asmussen team up for 25% and 28% at Churchill Downs. So I love the fact that those two are teaming up, and Gunite's one of those that, like I said, he goes and he wins the Hopeful last year at Saratoga. Then he goes and finished, like I said, went and got beat by Jack Christopher in the Champagne. Hadn't seen since then. Comes back to that allowance race, big allowance race, and runs well. So I assume we're going to see an improvement from him here. I think it's between these two. I don't necessarily love anyone else in here. If you want, Vernon Hunk of Love is slightly interesting from maybe a stocking standpoint. Overtaxed. Overtaxed, he's due to run poorly, I guess, because he runs every other race good. So to me, Gunite is the horse to beat. He's my top pick. Let me know the comments below. What is this race to you? Do you think My Prankster or Gunite can have any say in this 3-year-old division, particularly maybe from a sprint standpoint, or can they develop into anything else? Gunite being the maybe more interesting one, of course, being the hopeful winner. What is he long term? A gun runner colt from Winchell Thoroughbreds. You got to think that we're going to keep seeing him, especially when the Saratoga meet rolls around. So thoughts below. Who's going to win this race? What do you think of these horses moving forward? I want to know in the comments below. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button. Ding. And you get alerted every time we go live or we have a new video out. All right. Until next time. See you guys.